China's electric cars, they cost around half. They're coming for the rest of the world. And the biggest reason is because China's lower labor costs and more efficient supply chains are allowing Volkswagen to build EVs much more cheaply. And everyone else, Nissan, Toyota, all these brands, Mazda, they're going to be selling EVs made in China to the rest of the world because they're 50% cheaper. YouTube's new algorithm means that you're often not getting all of our videos in your feed. There's 7,500. I'm pretty sure you're probably not seeing a lot of them. In the description, there is a link to our newsletter. Click on that and you can get an update every day of all the latest news in the electric car industry. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Europe has a massive automotive industry, but that's getting crushed. In fact, the automotive industry in Europe lost more than 50,000 jobs this year alone. Volkswagen is leaning further into its Chinese operations, looking to export more vehicles built there to overseas markets, along with other companies like I mentioned before, albeit with the notable exception of Europe. Still, this will hurt European car sales, no doubt. The strategy hinges on a striking cost advantage that makes developing cars in China significantly cheaper than in other regions. Established European car makers face growing pressure from newer Eastern brands. Many are beginning to shift attention toward their Chinese production networks. For legacy manufacturers like Volkswagen, the appeal is increasingly hard to ignore. According to a report from the Financial Times, Volkswagen says it can develop and build a new electric vehicle in China from scratch for half the cost of doing it in, they said elsewhere, but they're referring to Germany, where still a large percentage of the Volkswagen Group's cars are made. So there's probably a good reason why we've heard reports that Volkswagen in Germany has been considering selling its factories to some Chinese car makers. Why is it so much more efficient? Well, I've talked about this in previous videos on the channel, but if you're new, Volkswagen has invested billions of dollars into the local market in China. And thanks to things like lower labor costs, staff that turn up to work every day, that work a lot harder and that are often much more efficient, plus shorter development periods, plus better battery procurement, plus a better supply chain, all of that leads to costs being reduced by around 50%. Part of this efficiency, though, comes from Volkswagen's new research and development hub in Hefei, which is playing a key role in shaping the company's next generation EVs. That's what the Volkswagen Group said, but that is a complete load of turd. It's this stinking pile of poop because it's not true. The Volkswagen Group's new research and development isn't coming from Volkswagen. It's coming from XPeng, Rivian, SAIC, Goshon High Tech, the battery manufacturer that they part own. Yeah, Volkswagen's next generation EVs won't have a whole lot of Volkswagen tech in them. They'll have tech from those car brands, or I should say from those brands. By optimizing integration across teams and disciplines, they say, though, the automaker now claims it can develop a new electric model in 30% less time than before, a process that would traditionally take around 50 months. Or they can just badge engineer, just slap a badge on a Chinese car, and that takes about 5 minutes. Like Mazda. Anyway, Thomas Ulbrich, Chief Technology Officer at Volkswagen Group China, described the facility as offering an entirely new level of integration, with software, hardware, and vehicle validation processes all running in parallel. We can now run software, hardware, and full vehicle validation processes in parallel, shorten design loops, and bring innovations to maturity much faster, he told the Financial Times. He's basically saying to their German workers, yeah, guys, your days are numbered. And actually, the Volkswagen Group has admitted they're going to fire 35,000 people. Volkswagen has already begun shipping Chinese-built petrol sedans to the Middle East, and Ulbrich confirmed the company is exploring similar exports to countries across Southeast Asia and Central Asia. That said, there are no plans to bring these China-built vehicles to Europe. Well, not yet, anyway. The reason why is this. The electronic architecture of China-developed vehicles doesn't align with European standards, they say. Is that actually true? No, not at all. Second, tariffs on Chinese-made EVs would likely negate the cost benefits, undermining the very strategy that makes this approach viable elsewhere. That's the fundamental reason why the tariffs, which are actually pretty massive. The tariffs on them would be approximately 30% because there's a 10% standard tariff for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're Chinese or not. Then there's an additional tariff on Chinese vehicles, which for Volkswagen, they probably make it about 20%, which is about what BYD pays. Then there's the shipping cost. So you're probably looking at a total tariff of 40% if you include those things together. Well, personally, I just visited the Xpeng factory in China where I saw two different Xpeng EVs, which are actually Volkswagen cars under development. I saw I saw them in the car park. They were camouflaged. They were Volkswagen vehicles, two different models, and one of them was kind of a looked a bit like the P7, the Xpeng P7. The other one looked a lot like the Xpeng G9, almost identical to the Volkswagen G9 because it is a Volkswagen G9 that's been changed a little bit for Volkswagen. Anyway, Volkswagen plans to release 30 new EV models in China over the next 5 years. These models will be crucial in helping the automaker regain market share in China. Regain market share in China. Do you guys think the Volkswagen can do that? I don't think they can. Data reported by the Financial Times reveals that Volkswagen does not rank among the top 10 battery electric or plug-in hybrid brands in China, although it still does hold 20% share of internal combustion engine sales. 20% share of a market that is about to evaporate. Not real promising for gaining market share, is it? Guys, what do you think about these comments from the Volkswagen Group? It is interesting to hear them admit that it's 50% cheaper to make a car in China than what it is to make one in Europe. Particularly, they're obviously referencing Germany because it's a bit cheaper to make cars in places like Poland, Slovakia, than what it is in Germany. Quite a bit cheaper, in fact. But these numbers to me are staggering. It really shows you, well, the automotive industry in Germany, its days are numbered. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.